Due to a request, this mini tutorial is going to be on standing splits. Go through a few of the basics and what you're looking for and what you're really not looking for in standing splits. So we'll start off from a flexibility perspective. So we'll go against a wall. So you'll need a wall to work first. So what we'll do is we'll start off, just take the hands down towards the floor and picking one leg up and just taking it up the wall. So you might stay like this, and if that's already feeling quite tight, you might stay here, because this is a good way to explore what's stopping you from making that shape, what's making it uncomfortable. If you can take the foot a bit closer, you might take that bottom foot a bit closer and extend that leg a bit further up the wall, depending on your mobility. And then you might start to bring the chest in towards that leg. So this gives you an idea of how deeply you could go into the splits in an upright position from a flexibility perspective. Now, if you can't do splits on the floor, you're not going to be able to do splits vertically. So just know that if it's looking, if you think, oh god, that looks terrible, it's probably a lack of mobility there. If you can't do the splits and do front splits down on the floor, if you're sort of here, that's going to be what your standing splits looks like. And if you can get full front splits, you also have to remember you need to be able, this is the position you're in, so can you fold over a front split? If you can't, then the stood up version isn't going to look like the splits. So rather more than a perspective of being in the splits, because usually you would come into standing splits maybe from a half moon or from a warrior 3, something like that, trying to have the focus of building strength and just going through a few things here of how to find the balance and the stability when you're doing it away from the wall. So say for example you were in a position from here where the hands were down onto the floor and you've got one leg up here, and then you're asked to go into standing splits. You start to bring the chest closer in towards that bottom leg, really point into the toes of the leg that's going to go up to the ceiling, and really lead with that foot. So if you keep the leg quite loose and floppy, it's going to make it feel quite unstable. So really point into the toes, work to straighten that leg out, and then start to reach up towards the ceiling using the strength rather than just having it hanging there floppy. And then working into some stability, just bringing the hands to a position where you can balance first of all, and then you might work towards taking one hand to the ankle and then taking it off, take the other hand to the ankle, taking it off, and then maybe one day when if you're feeling really stable, you might be able to have both hands on the ankle. But if you say, I'm not in a splits here, you need an enormous amount of mobility to find the splits this way. You need to be very warmed up, and it's really not about getting that straight splits going up towards the ceiling. It's about strength in the legs, building the core muscles up, building the glute muscles up. So really make sure all of those muscles are firing when you come into the posture. It's not a posture you can really have any softness in, because when there's softness, that becomes unstable. I don't think there's any part of the body apart from the neck and the jaw, I would say, that is in softness for standing splits. So really the advice is just keep working on it. Just keep visiting it, keep working to increase the mobility into the back of the legs to make the splits bigger. So lots of things like this, maybe lunges, half splits. That's one of the best things you can do to find splits pose eventually. And keep visiting the wall. If you have things you can place underneath yourself when you're coming down into the splits, like cushions just to rest underneath yourself, use those to help slowly create the flexibility to find the splits. And certainly the wall is your friend for doing standing splits. So start off at the wall and then work from there. I hope this has been useful to you. Do have a go, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.